A historic night at MSU Soccer Park in Montclair, New Jersey. The final New York Red Bull 2 home game in USL Championship history. Hosting for the first time ever, Detroit City FC, and what a night it is for it. The weather is perfect. David Goss and Connor Lade here with you as you take a look at these two records, completely different sides here. Connor, for Detroit City, already locked into a playoff spot, looking for seeding down the stretch. New York Red Bulls 2, of course, struggling, but an even bigger story around this game. The New York Red Bulls 2, this will be their final home game in the USL Championship.
A sad moment, but a lot of great things to look back on for this club, but they are matched up against a hot team in USL right now, and leading the attack for this team, Antoine Hoppenot, I mean, he's just been electric in 2022. 6 goals, 9 assists. I remember playing against him in college. Not an easy guy to play against. One, uber talented, as you can see on the screen here. Positioned himself well, a huge goal against Tampa Bay Rowdies, but he can get in the head of defenders. He knows which buttons to press that are going to get you off your game, and he's going to look to do that here tonight. It's a pretty good celebration still.
All right, Connor, stay down. We don't want you to get a yellow card before the game kicks off. On the flip side, someone trying to keep him in control and lead the attack is Avante Mullings.
Avante Mullings, probably the bright spot of the team this year in terms of offensive production, has really grown into this right back spot in 2022, providing the team with 5 assists, 1 goal on the year, a huge goal, but has really been an offensive weapon, has grown into defensive responsibilities like I talked about. And, you know, who knows what's going forward with him. This could be a position that we can see him in the future.
A big game coming up. New York Red Bulls 2 trying to end the season at home in winning ways. Detroit looking to continue their winning ways and their move up the Eastern Conference standings. We'll be back in just a moment with lineups and first half action coming up on ESPN+.
Shake it, shake it.
Hey, cancer, heart disease, and the rest of you illnesses. At Hackensack Meridian Health, we are ready. We believe that no matter what's thrown at our patients, we're here to help them overcome it. With hearts that know no limits, the latest innovations and procedures that are changing the world of medicine, and care that's stronger than any illness. So that today and every day, we're ready.
Red Bull Arena has been the fortress.
The atmosphere absolutely electric.
A superb finish. Oh my goodness, Christian Cáceres saved Coronel. Oh, what a dynamite stop.
All it takes is one chance for the Red Bulls.
Bring the house down. Red Bull Arena's his home. Oh, what a finish.
Look at these two handsome guys. David Goss, Connor Lade with you for the final time from MSU Soccer Park this season. It's going to be an incredible matchup here. Connor, make sure you look like you're writing so you look serious here. Both of us working very heavily. Let's take a look at our starting lineups. Let's start here, Connor, with Detroit City.
My man Carl, we met back at Montclair Soccer Park. Played a lot of meaningful matches for Red Bull 2. Another player in the long line of players, spread across USL Championship. And then also I've got my eye on Richard Foster, filling in for Declan Wynn, who's missing his first game in USL this season. One of the best left backs or wing backs in USL Championship.
Got called up to the New Zealand national team against Australia to show how well he's played. On the flip side for New York Red Bulls too, a lot of new names in this lineup.
Yeah, Henry Wise coming in, going to be playing alongside Jesus Castellano today. We've heard a lot of really good things about him. Excited to see what he can do here at home, one last time in front of these home fans. But a good attacking team on display here tonight, and they're going to have to be on their A game to match up with Detroit City FC.
Ibrahim Sakaya taking over as interim head coach here for New York Red Bulls 2. Transient time, trying to stabilize things. One person who's not transient, Trevor James. 4th season with Detroit City FC. He elevated Indy 11 into USL and did it very well. He is successful once again as Detroit has clinched a playoff spot in their first year in the USL Championship as our head official, Luis Arroyo, gets us started here. The final home game from MSU Soccer Park of the 2022 season, as well as for New York Red Bulls 2 in the USL Championship, Detroit City FC. And they're all white kits going left to right on your screens. New York Red Bulls 2, black kits and red shorts, as you see there. Matthew Nocita, one of the new pieces. A lot of additions now. 4 players that have been added that are on the field over the last month or so for New York Red Bulls 2 team that's been struggling. Connor, that's got to feel like a shot in the arm.
Absolutely. You know, you get to see Hassan and Dom, Matt Nocita, back in this back line here together. We've been waiting to see these two guys together, but an infusion of talent, like I talked about, Henry Wise, some new faces coming into the lineup. Obviously, you see Racinos at left back, young academy prospect with a lot of hype around him. Steven Plaza up top. It's just, you'd like to see a little more continuity throughout the year, but a lot of new faces coming in. Obviously, there's a lot of visa issues to work out. That process can be a little bit tough to get through, but happy to see them all in the field here together, and hopefully it'll be a good display here tonight.
The smoke coming from behind Nathan Steinwasser's goal from the Rampage here out at MSU Soccer Park. Going to see their side pick up a victory here in New York Red Bulls 2. The performances have been much stronger since Ibrahim Sakaya took over. The results have not always been there as Wiki Carmona starts dancing in the attacking third. Across to Hassan Endam. Endam, one of those pieces that joined mid-season for New York Red Bulls 2. Ended up signing a contract with the New York Red Bulls. And fill in as a defender. As Castellano now into the path of Adebayo Smith, and he fluffs his cross.
Adebayo Smith, these are the positions we really want to see him get in here tonight. Obviously, Ibrahim Sakaya has been insistent on him using that speed, playing off that back line, timing those runs, and you know that if you put him through, there's not many players that are going to catch him. Unfortunately, didn't get that cross quite right, but those are the positions that Ibrahim Sakaya wants to see him in all night.
New York Red Bulls 2 starting out this game on the front foot. This is the Detroit City side that won't panic. They've been in big games. They've won championships, knocked off Columbus Crew in Open Cup play, of course, at home, and coming off a massive victory over the Tampa Bay Rowdies in their last game, 1-0. Giannis, Nico Politis will blast this one long. Carroll, the captain, coming over to defend, and the flag will go up now against Adebayo Smith. So another rotated starting lineup. As you said, not a lot of continuity for New York Red Bulls 2. For this man, Trevor James, his team, good continuity, but as we said, forced changes for positive reasons. But again, we'll stretch this team midweek when for Detroit, they are fighting to try and stay in the top of the Eastern Conference standings to get a home game coming off that Tampa win before heading to Tulsa this weekend. Heading home to play Tulsa this weekend.
Yeah, and apart from Declan Wynn, obviously you see Richard Foster come into the lineup, who is also an assistant coach as well on this team. So if you want a guy on the field who knows exactly what Trevor James wants to do, that's the guy you want to fill in there because he can lead from within.
Foster, journeyman in Scotland, signed this year midway through the season, as you said, as a player coach. It'll be Maxi Rodriguez to drive this one. Dangerous ball, and it's flicked on, and Nocita puts it out.
It's a great little touch there from Nocita. Clears the danger, and that's what you want to see when you have players like Matt Nocita and Hassan and Dom in that lineup. You want to be absolutely dominant on both ends on set pieces. Now, offensively, you got to be really licking your lips right here tonight if you're these two, hoping that you can get some good chances, and then that's exactly what you want to see him do defensively.
Hopping out with the corner, headed away initially. Flicked on and spread back out wide. Foster's ball brought down by Hoppino, who's back in on goal now. Puts the cross in, headed at the far post. It went through everyone defensively for New York Red Bulls too, and it almost lands there for the captain in Carroll.
Yeah, Carroll just lurking at that back post. Hoppino gets his head up, is able to pick him out. Fantastic ball to the back post. He just can't guide it on frame, but that's exactly, you can't let Antoine Hoppino get in spaces like that. You have to have a number on him at all times. You know he's going to pull the strings for this offense. He's so tricky. You can see the touch that he had on that crossfield ball. He's just an uber talented player who really is a game changer. So if you're this New York Red Bull 2 defense, he's going to be the #1 guy on your list that you have to shut down.
He was the big signing in the offseason. 7 starters elevated from NISA 2, USL Championship, a bunch of award winners. Steinwasser, 2-time Golden Glove winner in this group. So a lot of big-time players that Detroit already had, but Hoppino, 6 goals, 9 assists, has come in and added that extra spark plug in the attack. Carl Ouimet brought in as well on loan from Indy 11 to help solidify things in the back. Racinos making the run. Plaza back to Racinos. Racinos just able to keep it in play. Racinos, the lone academy player, getting a start here today, but the bench is almost entirely academy players for this game. Jonathan Felipe out of college. Otherwise, every other player on the bench tonight is a New York Red Bull Academy player. A lot of young pieces that there's a ton of excitement around on this team, including Curtis Ofori returning from injury, which is good news.
Yeah, Curtis Ofori has been working really hard. He's coming back from his injury. He's a big part of this team, and he's been missed.
Hoppino now. Nocita looking to close him down. A whiff on the first pass. The second one falls for Racinos. He can't keep possession. And this one will go all the way back to Steinwasser. Mullings heads it forward. Henry Wise, a young player out of England, signed about 2 months ago. Opportunity to get the start here today. That center midfield position. And a little bit of a weakness at times for New York Red Bulls too, and a strength. You have Daniel Edelman come in and come out at times. Sam Williams, of course, played so well before going off to UNC. There's been a ton of movement in that spot specifically.
Yeah, it hasn't been able to lock down a couple guys to really truly feature this year. Obviously, it's been a couple projects here and there. As you can see on your screen, Jesus Castellano has shifted back from a more attacking role into a 6. But you talk to Ibrahim Sagaya, Bradley Wright Phillips, who works closely with this Red Bull 2 team. They really gush about Henry Wise, the type of quality that he can bring to this midfield, quality on the ball, just a willingness to run and put in the dirty work, which is huge in this Red Bull system. But he's the type of player that can really change a midfield, and they're looking for him to play a big role here tonight.
Pressure poured on by New York Red Bulls too. Wise just 22 years old. Played in some of the big academies in Europe, had been with Watford over the last few years without making any Premier League appearances. Finally deciding to come over. His dad, Dennis, a very famous player, as well as a manager over in England, played for the England national team, managed Leeds United and Swindon and played a ton of his career, most of his career for Chelsea. So big-time soccer pedigree. Steinwasser drives that one off the head of Foster. Nocita with the interception. Foster continues his run. Mullings closes him down. Is it back for Hoppino? Cross played in, flicked up in the air. Fight for it, and Nocita gets the touch to it in a dangerous moment. Williams trying to work in space. Carmona wins it back. Adebayo Smith is off to the races. Jordan Adebayo Smith, and it goes just wide.
Oh, what an opportunity for New York Red Bull 2. They're out in transition. Wiki Carmona with a fantastic interception and does exactly what he should do in that transition moment. Finds the danger man in Jordan Adebayo Smith, gets him out in space, takes a beautiful first 2 touches and just can't guide it onto the back post. But a huge opportunity. That's exactly what New York Red Bull 2 need to do. They know they're going to concede possession to Detroit City, but when you get those opportunities, when you see those mistakes, you have to take advantage of it.
Jordan Adebayo Smith, leading scorer on this team. He's played winger and center forward over the last few weeks. Getting the spot alongside Steven Plaza. He did a lot right there, just not that last inch perfect finish.
And that's kind of the Jordan Adebayo Smith. We've seen a little bit earlier in the season, we've seen his confidence grow exponentially over the year. You see the type of player he is when he gets in those moments, obviously putting the ball in the back of the net this year. 6 goals on the year. He's been the attacking weapon for this team. We haven't, the closest person to him is, I believe, 2 or 3 goals. So, I mean, he's been that guy that New York Red Bull 2 has looked to when they need an attacking option.
Hoppino able to keep this one in play. Early cross, headed up by Salinas. A whiff there from Castellano. Adebayo Smith lets that one run. Looking to beat We Met with pace. We Met recovers. Flipped in for Wise. Switches the side to Racinos. Racinos off to Plaza, and they can't link up. And the battle now on the ground. These two teams scrapping for every inch early in this game. Detroit plays out of it well.
Yeah, fantastic start to this one, Dave. Obviously, both teams are flying right now. Two teams who haven't played against each other very much at all in their history, but you can tell it's going to be a scrappy one here tonight. Detroit City jostling for position in this Eastern Conference playoff race. And obviously, New York Red Bull 2, these players are playing for the future.
Ball clipped over the top. Nico Politis right on the edge of his box. And he's able to stay in and use his hands.
Nico Politis looking like a wide receiver there. Toe tapping on the edge of the box. Confident to come out. Looked like he was a little bit between what he was going to do, but ends up that ball's giving him a favorable skip that he can keep himself within the box.
Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. Choose what you play with at www.selectsportamerica.com. Select League's Choice, Player's Choice. Knocked around the back. DCFC, they have been one of the stories in the North American soccer landscape over the last 7 years. Incredible support at Keyworth Stadium. The success they've had from day one, both on and off the field, has been almost unrivaled. And another feather in their cap, qualifying for the playoffs, but they would love to get a home game. It would change the entire playoff experience if they could host a game at that stadium with the smoke and the crowd and all the banners and everything that they've put together. And I mean, you'd assume on the road, they have a better road record than home record. They have a shot to win against anyone, but getting a home game would really change things.
Absolutely. 7-4-3 away record. Absolutely dominant on the road this year. And I think there's a couple places in USL Championship that are on my bucket list to go and watch a match, and that would definitely be one of them. So for them to get a home match in the playoffs would just be absolutely electric.
So a foul called for by Luis Arroyo on Hassan Endam. Looks like a little bit of a talking to. No card will be shown. If you go to Detroit, you can get pizza. Obviously, two tri-state area guys, no one makes better pizza than New York. But I like Detroit-style pizza. I don't begrudge it.
No, not at all. I'm not one of those guys who's a big pizza snob. You know, obviously, I know where the best pizza in the world is.
What's the place next to the training facility in?
Nona's.
Nona's in Morristown.
No, Florham Park.
Florham Park.
Florham Park. Nona's. That's my spot. But I'm down for different types of pizza.
Did Thierry Henry like Nona's?
I don't know that I could say he ever went there. But
come on, you got to rep your neighborhood.
I don't think it was actually there when he played here.
There you go. That's a good reason.
So, but
Right.
Nona's is a spot. Go get yourself a grandma spy.
That's the best. The upside down Sicilian with the red on top, it's not grandma's because it has a thicker crust.
Yep.
That's Long Island royalty right there.
For sure.
You go to Rosa's, anything named Rosa's, doesn't matter who owns it.
Sorry, guys, this is going to be a pizza broadcast here tonight. We're just going to rattle off some.
Isn't that what people tuned in for?
Absolutely.
That's why the Red Bulls wear those jerseys.
That's right. Pizza inspired.
Charging forward now. Opportunity to get back in the attack. Matt Lewis leading the way. Cross comes in low at the near post. And the offside flag going up. It wasn't in the back of the net anyway. What an incredible opportunity. Lotello Foz pointing, saying, am I the one who was off?
Yeah, Williams with a great run in behind Racinos. Extremely well timed and picks out a dangerous ball here.
It's Connor Rutz, I believe.
At the near post for Connor Rutz, who just tries to guide it past Nico Politis. I think he needed probably a little bit of a deeper position. Would have been tough to beat Nico Politis from that angle, but that's exactly in this wingback system what they're going to ask him to do, and Williams obviously has been a stalwart in this defense.
Henry Wise not the only one. Had a soccer royalty. Giannis Nicopolidis, his father, European Championship winner with Greece in 2004, the starting goalkeeper for that team. Had over 100 caps. I think many people would say one of the iconic faces of that team. His son now plying his trade in the U.S. after an incredible career at Georgetown, national champion, goalkeeper of the year, All-American, and in his first year in the pro ranks. It's been an up and down year, I think, as you'd expect for a rookie goalkeeper. It's one of those odd positions where you peak at 31 for some players, and getting there is so unique compared to field players.
Yeah, it's such a roller coaster of a journey for a lot of goalkeepers. You know, you never know when that opportunity is going to.
Chance here for Carmona, and it goes over the top.
Carmona, good position there. Just can't get that frame. We've seen that from Carmona. Puts himself in good positions. A little bit of, sometimes it's a little bit too much power on the shot, you know, trying to harness that and put it in the right direction, get over that ball a little bit, lean back, and that one went sailing. But Nico Politis, you know, obviously playing behind A.J. Marcucci to start the year is always a daunting task to actually get above him. But when his injury went down, he valiantly played. I mean, obviously he was under pressure a lot. It was a tough stretch for New York Red Bull too, conceding a lot of goals, but not, you know, I think you could say for him, you know, not a lot of those were his fault. He's a genuinely good shot stopper, is aggressive. And, you know, there's been, you know, the latter half of this season, it's been a little bit of a revolving door at goalkeeper, giving Derek Chan some opportunities. You know, obviously A.J. Marcucci coming back from injury and getting back into the mix. So it's been interesting. It's been a good competition for these guys going after it, and obviously getting a big home, the last home match here in USL Championship for Nico Politis, hoping to seal it with a win, and ideally a clean sheet for him.
Knocked around the back for New York Red Bulls too. Carroll, the captain, his 5th year as captain for Detroit City FC. Originally out of Cork, Ireland. Came to the U.S. to play college soccer and like so many we have seen, stayed, found his feet in the professional ranks, and one of the now staples in USL. Salinas slipped it into the feet of Castellano. Now Carmona. Rolls it out wide for Nocita. Another rookie on the field out of Navy. Carmona over. Can't find Plaza. Charging now is Castellano. He has it taken away. And the counterattack on. Maxi Rodriguez with the big switch field ball. Botello Faz brings it down. Cuts in. Lays it off for Rutz. Clipped up over the top, headed away. Handled well there by Mullings, and Detroit's going to get a chance to reset the attack. So aggressive opening 10 minutes for New York Red Bulls, too. We've seen Detroit City now settle in and find most of the ball here in the second 10 minutes.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing for me for New York Red Bulls, saw there, Henry Wise looks to be the really stabilizing factor in this midfield. Has had a really good start to this match, looking to get on the ball, which in that position you always need to do.
Foster there showing off his little bit of nuance in his game. Couldn't keep the ball. Carmona now flying into the attack, walked right by Rodriguez. An interception by Lewis. Well, it has looked easy at times for Wiki Carmona, though, in the open of this game. Racinos flying forward. This time cleared away by Carroll. Ibrahim Sakaya upset, and I can understand as a center back, by the way. You go up for a ball, the other person doesn't go up and makes contact with you. How is that not a foul?
Listen, I get it. I've been there.
Oh, yeah, because you're rising up pro.
Oh, come on. Check the tape.
Oh, man.
Yeah. When you jump early and the other person jumps at the same time, it propels you higher than them. So
Got it.
tricks of the trade.
Got it.
Short guys at home. Try it out. Jump early.
Castellano now flying forward. Carmona with the footwork. Wiki Carmona putting on a show early here. Double team now around the box. Adebayo Smith layoff. Intercepted. Second chance across. And Mullings can't do anything with it.
Red Bull 2 showing a little bit of flair here. Wiki Carmona. This is the Wiki Carmona that you want to see in these attacking areas. Obviously has just oozes quality on the ball. And can lure in defenders. Luring in two defenders there. Just couldn't get the combination right. See, Jordan Adebayo Smith has one crack at it, but just is a pure athlete. And, you know, the first one doesn't come off, comes back at it again. Finds Avante Mullings, just can't guide it on frame. Had a little bit of time to take a touch if he had a little bit of communication there. But so far, New York Red Bull 2's looked active.
Salinas closing down. Hopino, another cross put in. Nico Politis diving in the sixth to keep it cleanly in his hands.
That's exactly Antoine Hopino. Just when you think he's out of a play, you know, he turns around, he just whips in a ball when you're not even looking. He's asking his attacking options to be on the same page as him and make that run. He can provide a killer ball out of nowhere.
Justin Salinas was down behind the play now, feeling better. If there are some injuries or needs for New York Red Bulls too, Alan Rutkowski, the academy kid, a backup goalkeeper on the bench, Nate Worth, Davi Alexandre, Eric Ruiz, Bento Estrella, Curtis Ofori. Those are all of the academy options, as I mentioned, on the bench. And then Jonathan Felipe as well under Ibrahim Sakaya. On the flip side for Detroit, Cy Goddard, one of the midseason signings on the bench. Francis Atuahene, Yazid Matthews, who just returned to the team. Dominic Gasso, Michael Bryant, and Ryan Shello, as Steinwasser has to awkwardly deal with that one. Detroit City FC, some good firepower on the bench if they need to go to it. Hopino's off and running. He's onside. He puts it across, and he couldn't find Rutz. In the end, New York Red Bulls too. Every player looking at the linesman.
Absolutely, yeah. Antoine Hoppino just kind of unassuming on the outside. Didn't necessarily time his run right. It just kind of worked out that he, got played onside. And, when he gets a full head of steam, he's always got his eyes up looking. Can't find Ruts. Puts in a dangerous ball across the face of goal. Just couldn't quite time that with Ruts. If he did, I mean, that was going to be on a platter for him to finish.
Way back to Lewis, under pressure. Over to the captain, Carroll. Now we met, closed down quickly. Carl we met, works out of that. Ball over the top, Nocita comes all the way across the field to deal with it. Turnover in a dangerous moment, done well. Pushes it wide. A chance to attack once again. That ball's a little too strong from Williams.
Yeah, Williams too strong there, trying to find Hoppino behind. But Detroit City FC, I mean, you get them out in transition. They're a very, very dangerous team as well. Obviously, they put very organized behind the ball. And you know that you give them an option, it's going to be very difficult to contain them in the final third. So you got to make sure if you're New York Rebels too, obviously having that back five, you're going to have numbers around the ball, and especially committed into the box. You just got to make sure every single person is recovering.
Two of the top teams in the East meet when Memphis 901 FC travels to Louisville City as both sides look to secure the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Don't miss a minute as USL on ESPN Deportes continues Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Deportes. For my money, the two best teams in the East, I know for Tampa, it's your Kings until you're taken off that throne. And I think that's fair. And Detroit knocked off Tampa in their last game. Birmingham hanging around as well. And we saw Miami a week ago. They haven't finished the way they'd like to, but they are as talented as anyone. But I think Memphis and Louisville, for quality of soccer as well as winning and talent, I think that they're the cream of the crop right now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Both teams so incredibly talented, not only in the starting 11, but the depth. And I think you look around the East as you see a big tackle there. So Williams gets into it with Carmona, who is down on the turf right now. Just the depth in the teams around the East.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. You could feel, you could feel an all-star team really with like
bench players.
With when you look around the East. So it's super impressive. You see, obviously, you look in the Western Conference, everything is up for grabs outside of two teams. But you look in the East, the cream of the crop really rose to the top this year.
Yeah, the top two teams in the Western Conference, of course, San Antonio, as you said, pulling away. But that gap between playoff and non-playoff in the East is stark. And I think it is, as you mentioned, bringing in talent. Joaquin Rivas, leading scorer for Tulsa, sent to Miami FC, who now can push Josh Perez to the bench if they need to. And that's a luxury. Most teams don't even have a Joaquin Rivas on their roster, let alone adding it to an already playoff team.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, but it's going to set up the Western Conference. I think all eyes are on that in these last remaining games to see what's going to shake out. And obviously a lot to play for still in the East. Seeding, getting these home games, which is a currency in the playoffs, and every single home crowd wants to see a home match in these playoffs, but a lot still to play for in the East.
It does make that home field advantage massive as well, where you look at Memphis, 5 points back, but a game in hand. So if they knocked off Louisville head-to-head, they win the game in hand, you get to host. You don't have to go to Lynn Family Stadium. I think that is going to come down to be massive, and that's where, for Detroit, every point matters right now. The opportunity to try and work up the Eastern Conference and maybe sneak a home game, maybe avoid Tampa in the first round. It all is worthwhile to just, especially for Detroit, first time ever, get your feet wet in a more comfortable scenario in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And, you look at these teams that could possibly go on the road at the bottom of the East as well. Miami FC, 9-3-3 away from home. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, 7-6-3 away from home. These teams know how to win on the road. So there is going to be no easy matchup in this East. And these teams have been sharpened throughout the regular season to know you go in enemy territory, you can pull out a result.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fun one. As you said, the West race to the playoffs is going to be fun. And then the East playoffs, also something to watch out for if you are a Detroit City fan, which I'm sure you already know. You don't need me to tell you. But they close out the year with Louisville and then Miami. So you get to play those teams head-to-head in playoff-like scenarios, which I think is going to be really exciting to get these teams tuned in as the battles continue.
And for our Detroit City FC fans, I wasn't leaving you out of the away record. Obviously, touched on that earlier in the broadcast, but obviously a dominant team, 7-4-3 on the road. So, you know, the bottom 3 teams in the East in the playoff race right now, all very good road records.
That ball headed out by Williams. Reese Williams, not exactly his old stomping grounds, coming back to an area he's very familiar with, Columbia University grad, former New York Red Bull under-23 player, won an NPSL title in 2014 with New York Red Bulls under-23s under Simon Nee, who's still a coach here. Played with Sean Davis on that team, the captain of the squad. Sat on the bench in the final with Chris Lemma, who went on to be second all-time in New York Red Bull 2 appearances. Franklin Castellanos, as well as Dan Bedoya. A lot of players who came out of that team. O'Neal Fisher as well, that went on to some big-time pro careers, and Reese Williams a part of that one while playing at Columbia before joining the New York Cosmos as a pro. He's bounced around since, some USL League One experience, USL Championship experience with Stumptown last year, and now a huge piece of this DCFC squad. Albano can't link up there. 30 minutes played here in the first half at MSU Soccer Park. Perfect evening for soccer as the humidity has finally broken in the area.
Don't talk about it, or else it might come back.
It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so yeah. We're in for it. Steven Plaza earns the foul there as he sealed Matt Lewis on his back. Lewis saying, what else can I do? He's tugging me, but Plaza there showing his physicality. We've seen him, Connor, sort of want to float out wide and be a winger, but showing that center forward play there.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big part of the training that, you know, when he first came here, always drifting to that left side, but they need him solidified in the middle of the field there, especially when you have these options out wide. You have Jordan Adebayo-Smith on the wings. You want him to occupy that middle space of the field, be strong, use his qualities like you can see there, holding on or holding off center backs, using that strength, using that ability to link up play. That's the spot that they need him to stay him in, and when he does get those offensive opportunities, finish them.
Chance here. Williams closed down by Nocita, who wins it back for New York Red Bulls too. 6'8", Matthew Nocita. And if he can run guys down like that, he's going to have a long career.
That's been one of the biggest things. I think it shocked everyone, the type of speed that he has. And I think everyone knew that he was a good athlete coming out of Navy, but seeing it on tape is one thing. Seeing it in person, that recovery speed is another thing. And the aggressiveness he can get to step out to plays, it's been absolutely incredible and really lends itself well to this system, how they want to play, especially in a back three when you can be a bit more aggressive. That's going to be huge.
New York Red Bulls traded up twice in the Super Draft this year to take Nocita, who they knew would not be available immediately because of his duty to Navy. He was finally able to get on the field about a month ago. And he's grown in leaps and bounds in just a short amount of time, including having to deal with a broken nose pretty early on. This one pops out to Williams, curled into the far post, headed down by Rutz. No one there to meet it for DCFC. Dunwell wins it back. Dunwell, the metronome, at the base of midfield. One of the many former Michigan Bucks players in this team. One of the great Wake Forest players of all time, Dunwell. Which I have to say, at this point now, the cream of the crop when you talk college soccer.
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't think you'd be so quick to admit that.
Listen, I turn on SportsCenter and I feel like I'm seeing Wake Forest on almost every day in the top 10.
They score good goals.
I mean, they've been scoring some great goals. Obviously, always hoping to see Rold Mitchell, and I've seen him quite a few times scoring some good goals so far this year. But, yeah, Wake Forest has been really cream of the crop, and some of the type of players that you can see, like Dunwell, coming out of there have been very impressive.
Omir Fernandez, of course, had some time there for New York Red Bulls. They play, I think, hands down the best soccer across the college soccer landscape, and they do it quite successfully and with a ton of talent.
Very proud alumni as well. I remember you give Chris Duval the opportunity to speak about Wake Forest, and he'll go on forever. Chris Duval is now coaching in Charleston.
I was waiting to see which one you chose because they all love talking about it.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. Omir speaks about it, you know, when you give him the opportunity, but I don't say gush. I don't think he was there long enough.
Okay.
Probably, but obviously a great representative for.
Didn't win a natty.
Didn't, but obviously, you know, has gone on to do some incredible things after leaving Wake Forest and had an incredible career down there.
I tell people this all the time and picks up the foul. You could talk to guys who played in World Cups, who played in the Champions League, and it's like the thing they still hold is rivalries and their alumni.
Sure.
Like I talked to Chris Seitz, and he's just rattling off Maryland players. And it's like, yeah, no, for sure, man, cool. And it just keeps going and going. UNC guys, Cal guys, Stanford, UCLA. It seems to be there's some, I guess it's the time period in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is something that people connect with very strongly, even that go on to have ridiculous professional careers as well. Do you want to talk off St. John's players?
I mean, I don't think we have enough time in the broadcast. I'll go on forever. Come on.
Relax.
Come on.
Foul called once again.
Let's not end it on this note here together. Come on.
We're talking Chris Wingert now?
I mean, Winger, you kidding me? Defender winning the Mac Herman Trophy. When have you seen that?
It was great, yeah. Is that what convinced you to go?
I loved Chris Winger for sure. I remember, I think my recruiting trip was what really sealed it for me. Watching them play, I think it was West Virginia. It was number 2 in the country. Getting a win at home was massive, and
West Virginia was number 2.
They were number 2 in the country. They came in to Belson.
Ray Gaddis country.
I mean, yeah, Ray Gaddis played against him. That was, we lined up. I had an incredible time there. But yeah, Chris Wingert, obviously, Dave Mazur. Give an opportunity to talk about Chris Wingert. How much time you got?
How much time do you have?
Yeah,
Alistair Johnson, an embodiment of both, a Wake Forest St. John's guy.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of great players that have come through, and obviously I think it got me ready for the pro ranks. I think, obviously we did a good amount of fitness there. You can't say I wasn't fit coming out of college and ready to go.
Dunwell flicks it back up in the air. A little stop-start nature to the game over the last 10 minutes, but here's a chance for DCFC to get on the run. Rutz, with defenders bearing down on him. He gets the shot away, and it's too high.
Rutz, his timing has been excellent out of these runs out of midfield and hopping out. You see when he gets his head up, he's looking for him every time. Lays it out in front of him. Gets that ball caught under a little bit. Does a good job of taking that extra touch to get Ndam out of the play, who was closing him down. Looks like Nocita was there. Maybe he got a little touch on it. Didn't. I don't think so. But they got some good numbers around him. He just couldn't guide it on frame. I think he needed to have a little bit more curl at the near post, and I think he could have made Nico Politis work for that a little bit more.
That'll be Red Bull 2 throw in. You mentioned college getting you ready for the pro ranks. Also, you are a Red Bull Academy graduate. You are now 6th all-time in MLS League appearances for Red Bull Academy players.
I mean, I remember not long ago I was number 1, and then thanks a lot, Sean. And since then, it's been a lot more players have come through, but it's something that I love to see.
This one snuck through into the box. Who else but Hopino trying to make something happen? He pushes it out wide. Williams with the cross in. Falls in the box. Dunwell's shot is blocked.
Wow. Avante Mullings. Looks like he just blocked that with his back. I'm not sure if it hit him or Ruts.
It's
but
a corner
Dunwell,
kick right now, so they're saying it hit him.
It looked like it just fell right to Dunwell on the penalty spot. And that ball looked like it was destined for the back of the net if it didn't hit Avante Mullings, who was, I'm not sure if he just laid on the ground there, but used his body well enough to deflect it out for the corner.
Well, you can see why Dunwell's never scored a professional goal from that one. Obviously, defensive midfielder, not really the main focus of his game.
But does well, puts himself in a good position. That's exactly what you want to see out of these defensive midfielders, framing the box, doing everything in your power to get yourself in those positions.
Another chance coming, and it's scooped away. Salinas with the slide tackle to put it out.
Yeah, Salinas with a fantastic play there. Botello Faz just lurking at that back post, ready to pounce on that. And a last-ditch effort. Does such a good job. Not Williams. I'm not sure who put that ball through, but a great ball to the back post. And Salinas up to the task there.
Corner kick comes in. Nico Politis punches it not far enough, and Hopino couldn't get on top of it.
That's one guy, like I said, you got to be accountable for in the box. Get numbers around him. Can't be letting the balls drop down to Antoine Hopino unmarked. Takes it on the full volley with his left foot. Can't get it on frame. Nico Politis gets away unscathed there.
New York Red Bulls, too, hanging on by a thread right now. Man, Trevor James like to be ahead 1-0 here. Give his team a little bit of breathing room. As I said, a hectic week for them. A big game against Tampa. Now they have to travel to play here midweek and then go home to play Tulsa. By the way, Connor, don't want to harp on this. I don't think you were ever first on this list, because Juan Agudelo is. And I would assume a lot of those appearances came before you did.
Sorry, it wasn't. You said league appearances. I thought it was just MLS appearances for our club. For our club. I didn't get the total league appearances. Another miscommunication. We've had a couple of those this year, but that's okay.
We'll find our form probably next game. That tackle comes in. Maxi Rodriguez comes away with it.
But I appreciate you not calling me out on the spot, just waiting for later for me to continue my rambling.
I was just... So Nocita down behind the play. New York Red Bulls 2 players surrounding Larissa Arroyo, our head official. Reminder, Nocita broke his nose against Charleston Battery in his second game, wore a mask for about a half game. Then coming back, holding his right leg here. Again, Nocita showed that speed. He closed quicker, I think, than Botello Faz expected on that ball.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expects it. You know, quite the way he can close people down. Like I said, it looks different on tape. And Nocita, he's got such a good jump, the first step, and you can see Botello Faz lashing out there, catching him.
I think it looked worse in real time because Nocita's moving so quickly.
But to get a guy that height who can move like that, it's pretty incredible. And you can see that's exactly why New York Red Bulls traded up in the draft to get him.
Carmona drives this one towards Nocita. His flick on. Cannot find a teammate. And so it'll be Detroit City throw in.
I think there's still a lot to his game that they're still developing and, you know, stuff on the ball. But obviously those are the types of things that are very difficult to teach.
Final few minutes of this first half. Bulls 2 starting out aggressive. Wiki Carmona pulling the strings out the opening gates, but it's been Detroit City FC between Reese Williams and Antoine Hopino, as well as the runs out of midfield from Connor Rutz that have been the real threat offensively. That one hits the referee, so it'll be a drop ball as we kill play. Connor, what do you think the message for these two coaching staffs are to their side when they get back into the locker room?
Yeah, I think Trevor James is going to be happy the way that they built their way into the second half. Obviously started a little bit slow. You could see New York had a little bit of the better opportunities in the initial part of the first half, but never really got that clear-cut opportunity, which you can be happy about for Trevor James and for Ibrahim Sagaya. I think just a little bit cleaner in the final third when you get these opportunities. I think the best opportunity was the Jordan Adebayo-Smith counter-attack play. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed that they didn't get that one on frame, but I think for Trevor James, he's got to be happy with the way they've possessed the ball, trying to find Antoine Hopino as much as you can in the second half, because every time you get him on the ball, things happen. And I think Rutz, the way he's been moving out of midfield, getting those runs timed, and it's difficult for center backs who are constantly trying to step out when you have that deep lying run coming through. It's difficult to defend against, so I think that's going to be key for them to continue to do, and obviously get Williams up because he's provided some good service in the box.
Matt wasn't going to let Adebayo-Smith get him on that one twice in this first half. Carmona wins the ball back. Carmona continuing to be aggressive late here in this first half. Still awaiting confirmation on stoppage time. And that is why there is none. 45 and a couple seconds here at MSU Soccer Park. An aggressive game between these two. End-to-end stuff to open it up. A ton of physicality, a lot of tenacity so far in this first half. Detroit City FC trying to make it 3 straight wins on the trot. New York Red Bulls 2, their final home game of the 2022 USL Championship season, trying to end on a high note in front of their fans. And they were inches away from doing it from Jordan Adebayo-Smith early on in this first half. We'll take a look back at these first half highlights. We'll take a look around the league, as well as some of the great moments in New York Red Bull 2 USL Championship history. All of that coming up here on ESPN+.
Hey, cancer, heart disease, and the rest of you illnesses. At Hackensack Meridian Health, we are ready. We believe that no matter what's thrown at our patients, we're here to help them overcome it. With hearts that know no limits, the latest innovations and procedures that are changing the world of medicine, and care that's stronger than any illness. So that today and every day, we're ready.
And it's Liberty Bell closest to the rail, around the back turn, and here the horses come. Maverick is moving up the outside, and there is no run track. It's Maverick coming down to the 8 hole. Liberty Bell makes it to the outside. He comes down to the line again. There, neck, shoots over goal. He's the rider, and
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family.
I'll give you something, make you shake it.
Red Bull Arena has been the fortress.
The atmosphere absolutely electric.
A superb finish. Oh my goodness. Christian Caceres saved Coronel. Oh, what a dynamite stop.
All it takes is one chance for the Red Bulls.
Bring the house down. Red Bull Arena's his home. Oh, what a finish.
Since its inception in 2015, New York Red Bulls 2 has been a part of the USL Championship. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from over the past 8 years. The New York Red Bulls 2 launched their inaugural United Soccer League season.
Chipped ahead, and this one is in for a goal. Anatole Abong.
Falls to Anthony Wallace on the far side with the left foot strike and scores!
Blackwood. And this is struck. Punched away by Laurel. Follow. Can't save Laurel.
The first player in New York Red Bull 2 history to go for 20 goals and 20 assists.
Riascos, it's saved, but on the rebound, it's saved again. Marcucci, incredible.
Omar Sow in on goal and rips it. What a goal from the Harrison, New Jersey native.
Allen with the kick, he scores! Terrific, Brandon Allen.
Put in, White comes out and makes the play. Brian White has a goal and a save here today. Tom Barlow in just his third USL appearance, he gets his first career professional soccer goal. New York Red Bull 2 make it 4-0, and Aaron Long, the center back, has his second goal of the day. Mira saves it off the crossbar and out. They'll host the USL Cup final.
As the trophy will be handed out to the New York Red Bulls 2. They're the 2016 USL Cup final champions.
A lot of great memories over the years for New York Red Bulls too. As you look at the banners they put up, the first team ever to win both the regular season and postseason championship when they did it in 2016. Connor, what are some of the things, as we look at those stats, what's some of the things that stand out for you over the last 8 years?
Yeah, obviously just being a fan of this club. I got to play a couple of the early matches, in the club history. Just seeing it transition and the way it's evolved over the years has been so interesting. I think, just being super happy that it wasn't a MLS reserve league anymore, and you could play in proper matches that weren't the next morning after a match. And you got in a proper league, USL Championship, who has been incredible hosts for this club. But obviously, being a fan of the club, watching in Red Bull Arena them hoist a trophy, seeing those guys that you train with day in and day out have that type of success, lifting the first cup in club history. It was an incredible thing to watch, but most importantly, I think seeing some of the academy guys come up have been my favorite thing. Getting to see the beginnings of their journeys in the past couple of years, the things that they can do. Something that I always dreamed about as an academy kid is getting these opportunities, and getting to see them lived out has been something very pleasing for me to watch.
Yeah, you heard a baby voice, David Goss, start that first broadcast.
I mean, that's
the only note I had going into that game was the first ever player signing in New York Red Bull 2 history was Tyler Adams in 2015. So you look where it came from and where it went. 3 straight Eastern Conference Championships, finals appearances, and 5 years, the first 5 years, New York Red Bulls 2 won at least one playoff game. So they hit the ground running, and year 2, that double championship, and it's been awesome to watch over the last 8 years. As you said, some of these young players come up and come through. We're going to take a look around the USL Championship when we come back here in just a moment on ESPN+.
I'm on that real tick. I'm on that real tick.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about today when we go
Yo, roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
Louisville City grabs the lead. And there's a goal. Right on cue. Wilson Harris sends this place into a frenzy.
Knocks it into the back of the net, and 901 FC's got the lead.
The goal! What a thing of beauty! You could not have drawn that up any better.
It is the perfect night for soccer at MSU Soccer Park. Detroit City FC traveling to face New York Red Bulls too. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings. Those 7 are locked in the postseason. All 7 have already qualified for the playoffs for Detroit. As we mentioned, trying to fight to move up the standings. They could get within a home game in the first round if they can continue to move up the line. And as we said, Connor, it's sort of a you don't want to play any of these teams type situation. Everyone will have to play someone. As you take a look, San Antonio, a massive win over the Colorado Switchbacks as they continue their fine form out in the West. Tampa facing Birmingham, which means for Detroit, they can guarantee that they can make up some ground on one of those 2 teams ahead of them. And you have to think if Detroit can get a win here, they'd be in the driver's seat to at least jump Birmingham.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge. And the beginning of that is getting 3 points here tonight for Detroit City, which has got to be paramount for them.
Take a look at their big home win on the bottom there against the Tampa Bay Rowdies last weekend. Louisville City, of course, on fire once again, looking to become the regular season champions, sitting 1 point behind San Antonio, who out west are one of only 2 teams that are locked into a playoff spot when you look at the East where everyone's already locked in.
It's unbelievable. I mean, my eyes are squarely on the Western Conference watching these last remaining games of this season. It's going to be completely hectic. Obviously, a lot of teams in good positions to lock in those playoff spots, but a lot to play for a lot of these teams below the line.
LA Galaxy, too, in 11th, are still within 3 points of 7th place. That's how wide that playoff race is in the Western Conference. Let's take a look at this game. As we sort of said, New York Red Bulls, too, came out hot, but then Detroit City really found their feet in possession.
Yeah, obviously had a good amount of possession. I'm sure Trevor James will be happy with the way they did possess that. I think for both sides, it's just being cleaner in the final third and getting more clear-cut opportunities. As we said, New York probably had the best chance of the match in Jordan Adebayo-Smith, but Detroit City at the end of the first half was knocking on the door, and they were just peppering Nico Politis with opportunities. Not necessarily getting those on frame, but getting good opportunities inside the box.
Can New York Red Bulls, too, change the pace of play here in the second half? Can Detroit finally get that finishing touch? We'll find out in just a moment as we've got second half action coming up here from MSU Soccer Park on ESPN+.
Hey, cancer, heart disease, and the rest of you illnesses. At Hackensack Meridian Health, we are ready. We believe that no matter what's thrown at our patients, we're here to help them overcome it. With hearts that know no limits, the latest innovations and procedures that are changing the world of medicine, and care that's stronger than any illness. So that today and every day, we're ready.
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family.
Red Bull Arena has been the fortress.
The atmosphere absolutely electric.
A superb finish. Oh my goodness. Christian Caceres saved Coronel. Oh, what a dynamite stop. All it takes is one chance for the Red Bulls. Bring the house down. Red Bull Arena's his home. Oh, what a finish.
The Rampage supporters here to watch their team for the final time in 2022. New York Red Bulls 2 hosting Detroit City FC. David Goss, Connor Lade with you here on ESPN+. Let's take a look at the first half highlights, an end-to-end back-and-forth game.
Yeah, you look at the highlights. for Detroit City FC, and a lot of them have run through Antoine Hoppino like we talked about, but this is the big chance for New York Red Bull 2. Jordan Adebayo-Smith doing what he does best, getting out in space, using that pace. Just can't get that at the back post, just skipping just wide of the net. But they continue. They're having some good opportunities. Wiki Carmona has been very active in the attack, as you can see here, a lot of flair. Jordan Adebayo-Smith trying to combine, just can't quite get the finishing touch on this as Avante Mullings trying to get a good opportunity, trying to get a second goal in the air. And again, Hoppino pulling the strings for Detroit City FC. Weaving. Williams very active in the first half, whipping balls in. And this is the best chance for Detroit City FC going off the back of Avante Mullings.
It may have gone off his face. We're going to see here on this highlight. But Reese Williams and Antoine Hoppino, they've been that attacking outlet, as you said, all game. Done well without a goal in his pro career. Closing on that second ball there. And Mullings, it hits him on the right back, as you said, maybe on his arm or his shoulder. And going out, as you see the fans out in the parking garage. The 360-degree view here at MSU Soccer Park for the final time in 2022 and the final time in the USL Championship. David Goss and Connor Lade with you here in the booth as Larissa Arroyo getting ready to get us kicked back off here. You've got New York Red Bulls too, and their black kits with their red shorts going left to right on your screens to get us started. Detroit City FC and their all-white kits going right to left. Their first ever trip to MSU Soccer Park in their first year in the USL Championship. A fitting game for that final matchup here at home. Early long ball over the top. And Nocita puts it out for the throw-in. No substitutions, it looks like, for New York Red Bulls too at halftime, as well as for Detroit City FC. Foster to Dunwell now, all the way back to Carroll. Reminder, Sean Foster stepping in for Declan Wynn, one of the best wingbacks in the league, who's on international duty for New Zealand against Australia. Beautiful touch there from Rodriguez. Now Williams looking for the run of Rutz. Rutz early ball inside. Fotello Baz looking for a teammate. Back to Rutz. His shot saved by Nico Politis.
Great opportunity for Detroit City FC. They're getting out on the run, but this play by Racinos really stops that attack. If he doesn't get that touch on it, Botello Faz is wide open going in on goal, but he gets just enough of a touch on it to hold up that attack and make them kind of be on the back foot. They still get a good opportunity with Rutz on frame as Nico Politis comfortably catches it, but a great play by the young defender in Racinos.
All the way back to Steinwasser. Long ball, knocked down by Salinas. Adebayo-Smith trying to keep it in play. Dunwell quickly over to the feet of Lewis. Lewis, former Fordham grad. He's played here in the tri-state area before after coming through the Sporting Kansas City Academy. Go Rams.
Go. There you go.
Shout out to Sachi Hott and
Ryan Mara.
Ryan Mira. Come flying through there is Henry Wise. So he will pick up the first yellow card of the game. It was a physical first half. Pretty cleanly played between these two. And Lewis remains down after the play. As Wise comes over to apologize. Henry Wise, the new signing out of England, getting his first start here. Out of some of the biggest academies in England, most recently with Watford. So he picks up the first yellow card of the game. It goes without saying, but not for New York Red Bulls too. Defensive midfielder there might get forced into some fouls later on. New York Red Bulls too have set the record for red cards this season. A lot of them have come from silly first yellow cards. Michael Knapp picking up a red card in the most recent home game against Miami, which ended up being a 7-1 loss, down a man for good stretch of that game.
I'm sure Ibrahim Sagai would love to have this last home game end on even numbers.
Wise, immediately with the ball up the field, we met. Does enough to put it out. Carl Ouimet, as we said, former New York Red Bull 2 player himself, was part of one of the most dangerous red cards I've ever seen, playing against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Romeo Parks lashed out at him from behind. But Ouimet thankfully okay now and back in the USL Championship.
Fun fact about Carl Ouimet, if you ever need someone to play any sort of carnival game, any sort of game, he's your guy. He's good at everything. It's unbelievable, actually.
Endam's shot is blocked by Rodriguez.
Cornhole, whatever you need, Carl Ouimet is the first guy putting his name in the list, and he'll probably win the event.
Tailgate All-Star?
I mean, Tailgate All-Star, 100%. He's a ringer. Coming to a tailgate near you.
I'm sure he's got a lot to do in Detroit then.
I mean, yeah.
One of the best game day atmospheres. Of course, he's busy because he plays on the team, but one day.
It also depends how early you're getting out there and tailgating.
Yeah, absolutely. Good turn once again. Adebayo Smith, he's been, as you said, so aggressive, more confident than we've seen him probably all year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been spectacular. I think he's really coming into his form. Obviously, would love to grab that early goal in the first half, but this is the type of player that when they sought out to get him on loan, this is the type of player they knew they saw in him. Obviously, we've seen him punish the club last year with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and so this is going to be, you know, hopefully ending this year on a high, trying to get a goal in this one, try to get 3 points at home. But I think so far, I mean, 6 goals on the air has been very promising attacking option for this team.
Castellano with the full 360 there. Laid off for Racinos. He tries to float it to the far post. Endam's up. Steinwasser bobbles it, but then covers it.
And Dom, I mean, usually that ball is going to be easy pickings for a goalkeeper, but when you got a player of Hassan and Dom's stature in the box, anything can happen. Made it a little bit more interesting than I probably initially thought it was going to be.
Nico Politis. Big ball to Wise, who can't bring it down. Nocito with a long touch. Williams will put some pressure on, but Endam will beat him there.
I think those are the plays a little bit from Nocita that they're still working with him on the ball, the decision making. A little bit of a heavy touch there. Fortunately, they weren't hurt, but we've seen a couple of his earlier games, obviously still adapting to the pro game. It's a lot different than the college level, but obviously you talk about his intangibles, the physical traits that he brings to a match, and they're very excited to have him in here, and they know he's a very promising player in the making, and they're very excited to have him within this organization.
Lewis, he's been aggressive at that right center back spot. Going to make things happen. All over the top now. Up and no. Still making something happen. And his left-footed shot goes just wide.
Yeah, Antoine Hoppeneau in the box. You can't get enough numbers around him. Popping this ball over, and Dom getting this back onto the left foot. And Salinas does a good job of just putting himself in the way of him in the goal.
Big goal kick up the field from Nico Politis, knocked down by Adebayo Smith. Ruts is looking for the run of Maxi Rodriguez, and you can see his frustration with himself. So a calm start to the second half after physicality from Henry Wise. You wouldn't think that fits for Detroit City, who are looking to push for that goal.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit coming out of the locker room. sides a little bit slow, still feeling each other out. I think both sides, obviously nothing to lose for New York, so you want to see a little bit of that aggression come out of them. Last home match in front of their fans. I want to see that, some more attacking flair, obviously getting out, being a little bit more direct, getting Jordan Adebayo-Smith out in space. Avante Mullings, you want to see him flying up and down the line, but Jordan Adebayo-Smith is getting checked here from the trainers. And I think similar for Detroit City FC, not a lot to lose out of this match. Obviously, you're still fighting for that playoff position where you can catch a couple teams in front of you, but I think they don't want to have a loss in this match. Obviously, seeding is a big thing.
So let me ask you this, where it sits, let's say it stays tied 10 minutes. If you're Detroit, you sit for the tie or you go for it for the win because you have nothing to lose?
No, you've got to go for it.
Right.
Right now, you're going on the
You're
road.
pushing for
you
3
have
points.
to push for 3 points in this match, and I think that's going to be you're coming in this match expecting 3 points, and you're not happy if you're not leaving the match without it. So I think for Trevor James, he's going to continue to push his side on. Obviously, it hasn't been the best start, but to the second half, but it hasn't been a bad start either. I mean, it's just been kind of both sides playing in the middle of the field.
Good to see we met Adebayo-Smith. Feeling fine after that collision and back on the field as Mullings heads that one up into the air. Avante Mullings, an elite attacker in college with Florida Gulf Coast now, coming in, played the full year at fullback, leading the team in assists. Connor, final home game of the season, what do you make of what you've seen from him and sort of his future?
Listen, I think Avante Mullings has been my favorite player to watch on this team all year. I love watching his progression, moving from an attacking player in college into this right back role. I think it's up to him, really. I mean, sometimes it's up to you. I think they obviously put him in that position to start the year, but I think he's really grown into it. He's had a great, fantastic attitude, has never complained once about playing in that position. And I think he realizes it's a position of need for most clubs in the world.
Carmona now into the box, surrounded by white jerseys. Lays it off for Racinos. Racinos trying to get it back towards Carmona. Closed down by Williams. And it'll go all the way back to Nocita.
I think you see clubs, a lot of, you see a guy in a draft and you want to put him at a different position. A lot of teams are trying attacking players out at these wing-back positions. And I think for Avante, I think he's taken leaps and bounds defensively in his timing, in his starting position, because he does rely on a lot of his speed in these closing down moments when he has to make these recovery runs. He's able to do that with his speed, but maybe necessarily putting yourself in a better starting position so you don't have to do that and you can save that energy for going forward. You've seen him grow exponentially in that department, and obviously attacking the assists stand for themselves the way he's able to affect the game going forward.
Carmona. New York Red Bulls have a nice little passage of play. Space for Wise now. Serve to the far post. Mullings closing. And Foster got a touch to it and pushed it out. You mentioned the draft picks. You look at some of the guys. Richie Larrea's had a ton of success. John Gallagher right now. Avante's ahead of them because they waited a few years and then converted. And so Avante coming straight out now, he can be ready by 23 or 24, where those players at 25 got converted and had to learn the position on the fly.
Yeah, and as for his future, it's really up to him. If this is a position that he wants to continue to grow in, I think he's got a very high ceiling in doing it. And I think, just sharpening up those little things, like I talked about, his starting position defensively, kind of those instinct moments, that will come with playing more games at these high levels at that position. Those things will come to you, but it's something he wasn't necessarily very used to. But I think he's got a lot of room to grow, but a very high ceiling.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff you've talked about with him is all off the ball. It's all anticipating the game from that position, where if you're out of position at right mid, it's probably not the goal, as New York Red Bulls too are preparing some substitutes here.
But yeah, that's the one thing you don't worry about. When he gets on that ball and he gets a full head of steam, it's very difficult to stop.
Mullings out of the Toronto area, down to Florida for college now. Looking to close out his first year as a pro player on a high. You'd expect him to be in preseason camp with the MLS side next year, just based off what we've seen from other players who have played like him for Red Bulls too. As Adebayo-Smith battles, his shot blocked. Hoppino trying to restart the counterattack. Ndam comes away with it. Wise now pushes it out. Cross coming from Carmona, and it's too far for Racines.
It's a great step there from Hassan Ndam on Hoppino. That's exactly what you need to do with a player of that caliber. You need to be all over him in those transition moments. You know, if you give him a little bit of space to wiggle out of that, Botello Faz is going to be off to the races because he's going to be able to find him with those killer passes. Hassan Ndam did very well. He's very aggressive to get in there, step in there, and also sustains the attack for New York Red Bull too.
Jonathan Felipe, the lone college graduate on the bench, will be coming on for Steven Plaza. Plaza, the Ecuadorian, on loan from Spain. Getting the start once again. Felipe's been a bright spot for this team over the last month or so. Connor, a quiet performance, though, for Steven Plaza in this one.
Yeah, very quiet from Steven Plaza. I think, not many things to talk about. Just played in the middle of the field a little bit. He tried to get things going, obviously using his physicality up there. Would have loved to see him maybe be a little bit more direct because he does have good tools going forward. He's got good pace. I think he didn't get found a lot. I don't know if that was his teammates weren't finding him or his positioning in itself, but quiet night from him. I think moving forward the rest of the season, you'll love to see him be a little bit more active in the attack.
The foul going against New York Red Bulls too, trying to counter press there and keep it in the attack, but it's been a good segment of play for the home side, creating some half chances, having more of the possession in this second half after being outpossessed 56-44 in the first half. Steinwasser skips the man to Ouimet's feet. Back now to the captain, Carroll. Big switch from Carroll. Nocita's beat by the long ball. He'll play it back to Nico Politis. We'll clear it up into the night sky. Nocita stepping forward. Racines now to Castellano.
Been very impressed with Racines on the ball here tonight. He's got a very quiet confidence about him, and I think a bit of swagger, if you will. When he does get on the ball, he's very calm for a young player. He's always looking forward. He's got his head up, and so I think he's very smooth in that position, and I think that's exactly why he's getting these opportunities, because of the type of quality that he's shown Ibrahim Sagaye in training, and I think he's going to be a big player to watch in the future.
One of a number of academy players who have gotten opportunities this year. Eric Ruiz has really shined over the last 2 months. Ruiz, captain of the U17 squad, but he has become a fixture now in the USL Championship as Nico Politis takes that one. And one of the players we expect to see off the bench, Nate Worth, making his debut as the youngest player in New York Red Bull 2 history. Already earlier this season, Davi Alexandre, a USU 15 international center back we've seen play this year. Of course, Sam Williams, who's now was a full-time starter for almost 2 years before heading off to UNC. See how long he spends his time there before potentially coming back, as Felipe draws the foul early off the bench here. The first substitute of the game is this young man, Jonathan Felipe.
I think Carl Ouimet's going to be lucky to walk away without a yellow card there. As Felipe got a touch out beyond him, took him down in transition moment. Luis Arroyo opting to keep the card in his pocket.
Felipe, the Danbury, Connecticut native, out of Fairfield. USL Team of the Week just 2 weeks ago, after a big goal and an assist for him. As Carmona stands over this one. Carmona floats it in. Knocked down in the box. And it'll reach the arms of Steinwasser.
And who else but Matt Nocita on the end of that set piece delivery. I feel like every time you get a set piece, you got to be locating him and Hassan Ndam, and they were both in the same position. It's got to be a daunting task for a back line. Not only a back line, really this entire Detroit City FC squad to defend against.
Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC channel 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access, Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from USL, MLS, EPL, and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SiriusXM app. It'll be corner kick coming up for DCFC, so an opportunity to get Lewis and Carroll up into the box here and try and create that opening goal for the away side. And on their heels for most of this second half. Ball driven in. Nocito wins it at the first post, and then Hopino brings it down for the second bite at it. And who else but Nocito wins the header again? You're going to have to put some air under it to beat him. As an opportunity here on the counterattack. Castellano in the open field. Williams closes him down. Castellano gets back inside. Out for Racinos. Laid over for Felipe. Felipe comes in field. And then a lot of numbers recovered now defensively for Detroit. Mullings looking for an option, and it's swept away by Williams. Carmona now, his shot is blocked. As Wise brings it down. Done well. And Rutz closing on him. Red Bulls too somehow keep possession though. Henry Wise sprays it out wide for Castellano. Comes in on his right foot. Carmona can't keep possession. New York Red Bulls too swarming right now. And as it tackled away by Hopino. And as you said, he gets in defenders' heads.
Absolutely, yeah. Antoine Hopino, he knows exactly what to do to get in people's head. Obviously very physical. That's something that we don't talk about off the ball a lot with Antoine Hopino, but he's very physical in the way he plays, trying to get an edge on defenders, anyone he's really up against, and taking the worst of that one on that tackle. But that was probably the best sequence of the match for New York Red Bull 2. Just a sustained attack. Great opportunity. I love the play from Wise, finding Avante Mullings, picking his head up, looking like he's going to cross it, and then feeding Avante Mullings, who whips in a dangerous ball across the 6. Would love to see another number in the box, as only Racinos was at the back post, but love to see more numbers getting in the box and being a little bit more aggressive for New York Red Bull 2 to try to finish off a play like that.
And I would say that a lot of what we just saw was reminiscent of some of the best John Wolyniec teams of counter-pressing, numbers everywhere. It felt like a lot of times that they would suffocate teams. We haven't seen that as much over the last 2 years, but a really good segment of this game has been that way. And as we said, a lot of additions to this team, some older players, some more experienced players that it feels like are helping bring that.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Ibrahim Sagai is trying to get out of this group is, I don't care if you're getting played off the park 3-4-0, just look like a Red Bull team. And you could tell that's exactly what he sees out of this team. That's why these players have been put on this field, is to look like that. And you're right, we just haven't seen that enough over the past 2 years of looking like a true Red Bull team. And it's tough. Listen, you're playing with very young players against men, against players with lots of experience. But these players, these academy players have also come up through the system. They know exactly how to play. It's a different stage, but they know how to play because the information is exactly the same coming down.
You see Serge Goma there in the crowd. He, of course, coming through this team and scoring some big goals in MLS this year to help lead the New York Red Bulls to 3rd in the Eastern Conference. As Carmona will take this one short, and Dom still getting worked on the sideline. Takes away one of those threats as Racinos brings it down. A chance to counter here. Lewis off and running. Excuse me, it's Rutz. Mullings, does he get enough on it? He did. And Nico Politis puts it out into the crowd.
It's a great play there by Nico Politis, realizing he take a little bit of a half step back, but realized he's got to go for that one because Avante Mullings didn't get enough on that to get quite back to him, so he had to be the aggressor in that situation, or else Antoine Hopino is one-on-one.
Big clearance there from Wise as he steps in front of Maxi Rodriguez.
Yeah, Wise has been a great addition to this midfield. I think that's the one thing. It's a player that you need with bite there. I think that's similar to a Daniel Edelman that we've seen in the past that's been lacking this year, is that bite, but also that confidence on the ball and someone you can trust. You know you're going to play him, and he's going to be that facilitator coming out of the 6th position there.
You mentioned looking like a Red Bull team, facilitating players. 21 players have been signed from New York Red Bulls to the MLS side. You've got players in Caden Clark and Tyler Adams who have been signed to RB Leipzig. Eventually, it shows you the pipeline that was built 8 years ago, and that's a high level of production. And it's not just for the Red Bulls. Derek Etienne scoring in an MLS Cup for Columbus. You look internationally. We talked about it before the game. Speedy Williams, one of the starters for Jamaica in World Cup qualifying. Amando Moreno, a starter for El Salvador. Alan Younes, a starter for Guatemala. You've got players, of course, starting across the U.S. team, and Aaron Long and Tyler Adams. They could both be starters at the World Cup. Looks like they might be. It's in 8 years, that's a lot of production for this New York Red Bull 2 team and what their legacy will be in the USL Championship.
Yeah, I think this is the fruits that Ali Curtis and Jesse Marsh really set out for this to look like. Obviously, I think, it was going to be a transition period, and you're signing players, maybe a little older than they wanted to initially, but you're getting those players out of college, those Aaron Longs, those Florian Velos, these players that are going to be quality players. And the potential that they have is, of getting these diamonds in the rough and feeding them through the system, getting them totally entrenched in the Red Bull system, having an identity that's seamless top to bottom. That's exactly what they set out to do. And I think it's actually going to come full circle next year when eventually New York Red Bull 2 goes in MLS Next Pro, and Ali Curtis gets to see the fruits of his labors initially. But it's been interesting to see the transition of how it's gone, the different waves. Obviously, a ton of success off the bat for this New York Red Bull 2 in USL Championship, and some of incredible moments in club history, But I think the individual journeys of those players, like you talked about, it's incredible to see not only the players that have come through the system and signed with the first team, but to look around the USL Championship and seeing these players continue to grow and develop in their personal journeys and really, not only play for their clubs, but their countries as well. It's been incredible to see.
Yeah, it has. This team has affected the region as a whole. As I said, as Nico Politis fouled there on that one, and the crowd frustrated with it. It'll be a yellow card, it looks like, coming for Fatello Baz, as those two substitutions made for New York Red Bulls 2. So Eric Ruiz coming on, and Curtis Ofori making his return from injury. But, we've talked about it all season because we see it all season, but Louisville winning championships with Speedy Williams at central midfield, Evan Loro and Jordan Scarlett, two key contributors for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Preston Kilwine right now for Pittsburgh as well. Amando Moreno, David Najem as well. Out in New Mexico, we saw Conrad Pleva, Noah Powder, Douglas Martinez win titles with Real Monarchs after leaving New York Red Bulls 2. It has been a positive for the league. It has been a positive, as we said, for the region and, of course, for the U.S. Tyler Adams, first ever signing. Aaron Long, Defender of the Year. I don't think there's a lot of teams in the world that will have two players ever play or start in a World Cup from their team, let alone in the first 2 years of their existence, as is the case for New York Red Bulls 2.
And we talk about kind of that from the outset, Jesse Marsh and Ali Curtis having a vision, but it's about putting the right person in place to really guide that team, and that was John Wolyniec. And you can't say enough about the job that he did for this club from the outset, and obviously, the types of players that he was able to nurture and develop and put them in positions to be successful. So you can't say enough good things about John and the efforts that he did with this club.
And Wally, it just felt like was the perfect guy for the job. One, New York legend, club legend, but had a lower division journeyman career to start and then found his feet and started in an MLS Cup final. It just felt like if anyone could talk to young players and say, this is how you can control your destiny and, you can build your career, it felt like it could be him, and alongside Ibrahim Sakaya every step of the way. It was awesome to watch them build teams where it was sometimes kids running their heads like chickens with their heads cut off against some senior experienced players, but believing in what they were doing and putting up some incredible results year after year.
Yeah, and I think you couldn't pick a better guy to transition this club into the next phase of the club's journey is Ibrahim Sakaya, and guiding them, through the remainder of this season and moving forward. So it's going to be interesting to see what the next journey for the club entails, but we know it's going to be an exciting one.
And I owe Wally a huge thank you for always being patient with me, answering all my insane questions. As this one gets into the box, Nico Politis makes the save at the near post, but he always had time for me, pre-game, post-game, in the middle of the week, to explain what was going on, to tell me about the players, their relationship, and all that, and couldn't have asked for a better coach to work with, and I appreciate everything he did for us. Gary Lewis, thankful to him as well, of course, this year, starting the year. He was always very open with us and trying to help us in our broadcasts, and, of course, Ibra. He's busy. He doesn't have as much time to talk to us.
I get the little tidbits over at the facility, but yeah, no,
you can do it in 4 languages, so it's cool.
I totally agree. You do a very annoying question, so it's.
Wally sometimes would go, yeah, I don't know. Hadn't really thought about it. I don't really care. And I go, that makes sense.
Love it.
But there was nothing better than a cold winter night. Bob Lilly, John Wolynek, Rochester or Pittsburgh versus New York Red Bull 2 game. Those were the peaks.
Not contentious at all on the sidelines, right?
Dunwell coming down, the defensive midfielder, and he can't find the cross. And Ruiz and Endom sort of playing with it in their own box. But those were some great games to open up New York Red Bulls 2 USL Championship. Time, of course, Rochester winning the championship in 2015 after knocking off Red Bulls 2 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, as everyone's on side with Salinas down on the ground. Endom heads it away. Hopino trying to get a second bite at the shot here. Blocked. Endom in the perfect position.
Huge block there by Hassan Endom. Salinas still down on the ground. But a great opportunity. Rutz got really all of that just right into the body of Hassan Endom.
We've seen some big blocks for both these teams. Fans, don't miss Don't miss a minute of the action in 2022, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN+, the home to USL, MLS, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. A lot to watch here. The final week of the regular season, October 15th. Playoffs starting October 21st. USL Cup is going to be on November 6th, though. A ton to watch out for. ESPN Plus, your site for all of those games. As now we'll take an injury look here at Salinas. While we have the stoppage, we mentioned Ali Curtis and John Wolynek. We also should mention Sean Oliver, who basically did everything for this team to just turn the lights on, get the ball on the field, and play, including one time sitting in this booth with me, which was not his favorite day of all time, but he did a huge, immense work for this club. We have to give a thank you to Steve and Patty Fastic, who have made these productions look amazing over the last few years, has elevated the work we've done, as well as helping to teach a lot of young people in the profession to learn how to run trucks, to learn. So someone like Jansen Rogalski over here, who's now keeps the trains on the track for us. So shout out to Steve and Patty Fastic and Fastcom Productions. And we know we were a minute heavy today, but that's all in your honor, just so that you had that last experience with us. We really appreciate everything they've done for us. Shout out to Sean Carr as well, one of our producers this year. And for myself, Paul Hawkins, who originally in 2015 put me on a broadcast. I had never broadcast a professional soccer game before, and Paul took a risk, put me up in the booth by myself with no cough button, which was scary. Mike Demmel sitting next to me, and Rich Kaufman in my ear, and all of them have helped us so much, as well as Brooke Everler, who has helped put these broadcasts on, turn this stadium around, whether it's at Red Bull Arena or at MSU Soccer Park, and really elevate these games. As these players have done it, as these coaches have done it, and we talk about it all the time. More teams, more leagues, that's more soccer jobs, more people who love this sport, who can grow and continue to be a part of it. And I think Steve and Patty have done a great job of bringing young people in, and Jansen as well, and it's been awesome to be a part of it, and I'm so appreciative. I think this might be the most fun job I've ever had, just watching a bunch of young kids go out there and just play their hearts out and pure soccer at its best.
Yeah, and I think that my favorite part about it is just seeing the club rally around this team. Obviously, having a ton of players. You mentioned Sean Oliver doing just about every job for this club. It's awesome to see, but the club genuinely rallies around this club, around this team. They want to be a part of it, be a part of their success, be a part of getting them through the down parts of the season. But I also want to thank you, my friend, for helping me make this transition into the booth. And I couldn't think of a better partner to sit next to, and had a ton of fun with you doing these games, and obviously hoping for one more firework here to close things out. But I want to say a big thank you to you for making this process really enjoyable for me and getting in the booth. And I know it wasn't easy at first, but you helped me along the way, and I just can't say enough of good things to you, and hopefully we get another opportunity to do this in the future.
Hey, listen, I've loved it. I was a little cold at first because I was worried you were going to jump me for FC Cincinnati like your two previous broadcasters, and Florian Velo ended up doing as well. But I'm glad that we've been able to do these together, and it's been so much fun to watch this team. And you've brought that insight, which was you are a Red Bull guy. You are part of the system, so you have that DNA. There's a handball here for Lewis gets called. In a dangerous moment. Eric Ruiz looking to go quickly now. Out wide for Felipe. It was Davi Alessandre coming on in place of the injured Salinas. As DCFC now are preparing their own 2 substitutes. And as Connor said, final 10 minutes here at home, 0-0. The last 10 minutes of USL Championship soccer at MSU Soccer Park for New York Red Bulls 2. Can they leave on a high? Or can Detroit City FC make it 3 wins in a row and continue to push up the standings in their first ever year in the league? We'll now get those substitutes for Detroit. So Maxi Rodriguez's night is done. Coming on in his place is Cy Goddard. Rodriguez bringing a ton of energy through that central midfield. It looks like Pato Botello Faz is the other substitute, or is the other player coming off. And in place of him is Yazid Matthews. Matthews, a former Detroit City FC player, returning to the club here this year, re-signed about a month ago. He's looking to bring that finishing touch up top. Matthews immediately on the ball. Mullings with the interception. Ruiz, Castellano. Nico Politis can't do anything with that one. Apano coming in field. Ruiz gets a touch to it. Mullings all the way out to midfield. Mullings now closing on that second ball. Pushing forward into the attack. White jerseys start to swarm forward for Detroit. Williams held up by Ofori. No foul called, and now Curtis Ofori and Castellano looking to push the attack. Carmona into the path of Ofori. Ofori quickly for Adebayo Smith. And the big tackle. And they're saying it will deflect off of Adebayo Smith after Carroll's tackle. And it'll go out for a Detroit throw-in.
It's a fantastic piece of transition play from New York Red Bull 2, but an even better play from Carroll, sprinting all the way across the field to catch Jordan Adebayo Smith and knock that one out for a throw. And Jordan Adebayo Smith screaming for that ball for Curtis Ofori, who we love to see back on the field after recovering from his injury. We've got 8+ minutes to play. Should be an interesting finish to this one. As we talked about, Detroit City FC desperately wants 3 points here to push themselves up the table, trying to catch a couple teams in front of them. New York Red Bull 2 trying to close out this match with a win for their home fans.
Chance here. Hapano into the box once again. It's blocked by Alessandre. And it will go out for a corner kick.
And those are the positions Antoine Hapano. It almost feels like he's more comfortable when there's more people around him and he's in these tight spaces. It's pretty incredible getting to play against him in college when he was at Princeton. Always an exciting player to play against. Probably one of the best trash talkers I've played against in my career as well, but I love playing against him. Getting to start our professional journeys together, cross paths when he was at Philadelphia Union. So a player that obviously is very talented and is doing incredible things with Detroit City FC, and you love to see it.
So Nico Politis taking that contact and earns the foul. You see the score on the top there. Loudoun United 3-0 right now over Hartford. Hartford, the first team out of the playoffs, and of course already eliminated as they prepare for life under Todd Ramos full-time next year. I think a lot of Red Bull former Metro Star fans will have an eye on that one.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more easy to root for Tab when you're out of the league, you know?
His ball's flicked over for Carmona. Carroll comes out and makes the tackle. And he'll hit it off Carmona and out for a goal kick. Steinwasser hasn't had a lot of work to do. Most things have been blocked before they got to him. Hendom rising over Matthews.
I think a lot of the part of the success that is talked about is upfield from Steinwasser, but 10 clean sheets on the year is a big part of the success that they've had. There's like 24 goals conceded. He's been incredible so far for Detroit City FC in their inaugural season in the USL Championship.
Ruts up to Williams. Williams down the line for the run of Goddard. Goddard's cross is blocked. It'll be another corner kick coming here as immediately Lewis, Carroll, and Ouimet jog up the field to get into the box. And they get it over the front post of Nocita. Ball played in. Endom flicks it along. Hopino's shot. Again, a block, and this one will go out for another corner kick from the opposite side.
Yeah, if I'm Antoine Hopino here at the back, I'm putting this ball at the back post away from Nocita and Dom, who both are freed up to hunt this ball right now.
And Nocita rising to it once again. Only as far as Dunwell. Foster now floats it in. Nico Politis is out, and he punches it away. Felipe chasing. Goddard will get there first. Goddard brings it down. The big switch. But he hits it behind Hopino. Hopino now down the line. Ouimet chasing, and he's not able to keep it in play. We have the second window, third substitution here for Detroit City FC. So Michael Bryant coming on in place of Foster. So Bryant, one of the big-time players coming into the season for this team, coming over as captain of California United in NISA to join Detroit and elevate up to the USL Championship. Throw taken quickly. Bryant gets a touch. Ouimet now stepping forward. Ouimet surrounded by black jerseys. Ofori intercepts that softly hit pass. Williams chasing him, but he puts it in the path of Adebayo Smith. Jordan Adebayo Smith. It's too long his touch. And it'll go out for a goal kick.
Wow. What a chance for New York Red Bull 2. Jordan Adebayo Smith just got a little bit too ahead of himself, couldn't slow himself down and make that final play. Jonathan Felipe was open on the back post if he takes a peek up and just puts it across the face of goal. As Felipe looks like he'll pick up a yellow card here.
Felipe coming in a little bit late. He was making the run alongside Adebayo Smith. He was a few steps behind.
Yeah, it's difficult to see. I think that last touch from Adebayo Smith, I'd love just to see him, if he's not going to play that ball, just to take that one himself. He took one too many touches there. Difficult to see, but you know he's got the pace, and obviously the defender kept up well with him and made that decision difficult for him.
Yeah, it was, you know, at most a quarter of a mistake there from Williams to just knock it back, accidentally making the tackle. Adebayo Smith has that speed to make that a threat.
And Curtis Ofori with the great instincts to really spark that play. That's exactly what you're looking for out of the outside back there. Jump on a loose ball. And really spark that transition moment for New York Red Bull 2.
Detroit rotating it around the back. Carroll now stepping forward. Must-win territory for Detroit City FC. This is 3 points that they had planned on putting on the scoreboard. As Ofori now coming forward. Ofori closed down by White Kits. And he eventually earns a free kick for his side.
Good job by Ofori to draw that foul, but I would love to see that decision come earlier. Playing Felipe, I think he's trying to get that back to his left foot to play him, but by that point it was closed down. But another great play by Ofori to step through the midfield. Just, you want to see a little bit of a quicker decision making there.
He was looking for the run of Felipe, but it was the hardest run to find.
Yeah. I think unless he saw that initially while he had that ball on his left foot in stride, but once he cuts it back, Dunwell did so well to come across and cut that option off.
Carmona will take this one. Endam and Nocita in the box. They go short to Castellano. Castellano now. His cross deflected. It lands in the box. Cleared away by Bryant. Mullings trying to win that second ball, and the foul will go against Mullings after advantage was played. Quickly taken by Detroit. Matthews now. And it will be a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time here. You expected with all the injuries and stoppage it would be a pretty big number. Ruiz, the first to that ball. Lewis steps forward. Adebayo Smith gets a touch from behind. Ruiz now striding forward. Eric Ruiz with the ball over the top, and Felipe's offside.
Just a step offside from Jonathan Felipe. Eric Ruiz looked up trying to spring that attack. Just needed to come a step earlier, that ball. But a good look from Ruiz.
This ball knocked down in the box, and it goes just wide from Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews, that would have been a dagger for New York Red Bull 2 to give up another late goal. Does so well to come across the defender and try to just steer that ball to the back post. It was a brilliant ball whipped in across for him.
New York Red Bulls 2. That one flashing just wide. Their final home game in their USL Championship history, the 2016 regular season and postseason champions. 3-time Eastern Conference finalists. They've won playoff games in 5 of their 8 seasons in the USL. One of the staples, one of the clubs. Looking to put on a show one more time for their home fans. Can Detroit City FC ruin it? Alessandre puts that one out safely as we reach the midway point of the minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time. Ouimet throws it in. Bryant can't keep it in play, so it'll be a throw in now. Mullings now, as Ibrahim Sakaya continues to cheer his side on. We've talked about it all night. 21 players signed in Major League Soccer, and to the Red Bulls in Major League Soccer from this Red Bull 2 team. A number of players brought all the way from the RDS under academy through this team and on, including Eric Ruiz, now a part of that chain. And it gets knocked down. Ball over the top here, Nocita had to win that one. Goddard trying to get it under control. Hounded by Ruiz. He does get it out wide. Done well now. All the way back. Big switch to Lewis. Lewis has been phenomenal in this one on both sides of the ball, as has Williams. Maurice Williams, former Red Bull U23 player, has it taken off his feet. Is there something here in transition for New York Red Bulls too? Castellano trying to cut it back across the grain. Beautifully done there by Carroll.
Yeah, it's fantastic by Carroll. Such poise. Realizes there's no attacker around him. Instead of heading back up the field, retains possession for his team. Fantastic composure from the center back.
Done well now. To the feet of Rutz. Out wide for Williams. DCFC pushing hard for the win. Hopino's cross, it's cleared away at the near post by Mullings. And a mistake there from DCFC. Was there enough time for New York Red Bulls too to get up the field? Ball up the line for Felipe. Carroll comes over. Dying seconds of this one. As Jonathan Felipe will drop that one for Ofori to come forward and maybe signal there. The last opportunity for New York Red Bulls too. Ofori will throw it forward. Jordan Adebayo Smith, a little nudge from behind, but Carroll gets away with it. Matthews can't bring that one down. Nocita with the clearance. Ruiz can't keep it under control, and Goddard now has a chance to play it wide for Williams. Williams flying forward. Castellano collides with him, and no foul called, and Castellano comes away with it, but he turns it back over. Hopino now dragged down, and this is going to be a free kick in the dying moments on the edge of the box. You have to think, Connor, this will be the last kick of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopino knows exactly what he's doing there. As soon as he feels the contact, he knows this is going to be a tough one to whip in the box. Takes that contact, goes down, and gives his team a last-ditch effort to get a win here at the death. Right in front of the Rampage.
All 11 players for New York back to defend. It's Hopino standing over this one. And he hits the wall. And the last thing he wants to do, and that is the final whistle. For the last time in USL Championship, New York Red Bulls 2 play a home game at MSU Soccer Park. They hang on against Detroit City FC, who have already clinched their playoff spot, for a 0-0 draw here at MSU Soccer Park. What a performance it was. End-to-end stuff here throughout the game. Connor, both teams pushing for a win, ending in a tie.
Yeah, I think positive take from both sides. I think, you know, promising for New York Red Bull too. I think it was one of their better defensive efforts on the year, so you always want to finish things at home with a strong defensive effort, and they can say they did that here tonight against a very good Detroit City FC team.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment with all your post-game coverage coming up here on ESPN+.
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family.
I'll give you something, make you shake it.
Red Bull Arena has been the fortress.
The atmosphere absolutely electric.
A superb finish. Oh my goodness. Christian Cáceres saved for it out. Oh, what a dynamite stop. All it takes is one chance for the Red Bulls. Bring the house down. Red Bull Arena's his home. Oh, what a finish.
New York Red Bull 2 players chatting with their opponents as well as with the fans for the final time here at MSU Soccer Park. David Goss and Connor Lade with you for this one as we take a look at the moment of the match. Connor, it wasn't played like a 0-0 game, and somehow we didn't get a goal.
No, absolutely, and this is a big moment here. Avante Mullings, I love this save from him because his arm is exposed there, and if it does hit it, it could be a little questionable, but he does such a good job to tuck his arm under as he sees this ball come in and really lean his back into it. It's a great opportunity for Detroit City FC to get on the score sheet, but this defense stuck strong here tonight, and they really played as a collective whole, and it was impressive to see because we haven't seen that all year in 2022.
Well, a big one for these players, a big one for these fans. The final game in front of the Rampage. Shout out to Kevin Stoke, Robert Manila, and Matt Brown, who have put together that support that has helped push this team to be one of the best in the USL Championship and helped push these young players as well. As you take a look at the stats for this one, still a few games left for these two sides coming up over the next few weeks for Detroit City FC. We mentioned it a couple times in their upcoming schedule. They play some big-time games for New York Red Bulls, too. They head to Phoenix, they head to Memphis, and they close out at Tampa. So it's going to be iron sharpens iron to close out the year for New York Red Bulls, too, as you take a look at the Rampage there. In the background, on the flip side for Detroit City FC, as we said, they've already clinched their spot in the postseason, but they play against two of the postseason teams at Louisville on October 5th, and they close out the year at home against Miami FC. That could be a 6-pointer for a spot in the postseason. So a big year for Detroit City FC in their first year, and a big year for New York Red Bulls, too, in their final year. Connor, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to all of you out there who have watched over all the years, who have tweeted at us the corrections. We appreciate all of them, but who have enjoyed these games and helped make this team possible as well as successful. Once again, for myself, David Gott, for Steve and Patty Fastook, our producer, Sean Carr, and Jansen Rogalski, for Connor Lade as well. Signing off for the final time from MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2-0, Detroit City FC 0. Have a good night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.